Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So finally it is time for this long awaited video. It's been over 3 weeks and I'm just happy to be done with this dress. Stay tuned and yeah, let's get right into the video. Previous video was all about cutting patterns for this off-shoulder pencil dress, so make sure to check that out, and this video will be all about sewing and cutting and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get right into the video. Right, so first things first, I'm going to cut my fabric out using my pattern. Make sure to cut on a fold, especially for this piece in the middle. Okay, next step, I'm marking 1/2 inch down, and this is for sewing allowance. Now's a good time to tell you to please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Once done with that, go ahead and cut out your fabric. So next step is you're going to cut out this pattern here. You're going to need 2 of this particular pattern, so make sure to cut on a fold as well, and make sure to mark 0.5 inches for your sewing allowance. So here I'm just marking my notches and making little snips. This is to help me when I'm joining everything together. Right, now to the back pattern. I am pinning it in place. I need 2 back pieces, so that's why my material is folded into 2. So next is cutting out the skirt pattern. So this is the front pattern. Make sure your skirt pattern for the front is cut on a fold. So now I'm just doing the same thing. I'm cutting out my fabric using the back pattern. Now I'm just cutting out lining for all the pieces. Right, so for the front, the top, I have pinned the 3 pieces together like so, and I've also done the same thing for the lining. So this is how it looks, and I'm just going to go ahead and sew 1/2 inch. Okay, so now I am just sewing my fabrics together. One thing to note is, even though it seems like I'm going fast here, I am taking my time because this part is actually quite complicated going around that curve. So you want to take it slow and steady. And here I am sewing my lining using the 1/2 inch allowance. I am done with sewing it, and I'm going to go ahead and cut little snips to make sure my fabric lays flat. So I'm going to cut snips right before the thread line, and I'm also going to go ahead and iron my fabric flat. As you guys know, I always say this, ironing is the way to go. If you want your fabric to lay flat and your outfit to look very nice, you have to iron your fabric. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just making sure everything is flat. So yes, iron the seams and iron them flat. Okay, so here I'm just testing it out on my mannequin. So I am making this for a client, so I had to make sure everything looked good and fit snug and nicely. Now I'm just going on to sew on my darts for the back piece and for the skirts as well. So just sewing my darts now. And this is where you attach your lining to your fabric. So join it right side facing right side. I didn't show this on camera, but this is where you would join everything together once you're done with the darts. So here I'm just cutting out the flounce for the top and the skirt. Alright, so first things first is I cut out a block of my fabric. This was 55 inches wide, and then I got the midpoint of it and I drew a straight line. Next, I got the midpoint of that line and drew a straight line. So I'm dividing my fabric into 4. Now from the middle, I'm going to mark 2 inches all the way around, creating a circle. Guys, I also have a detailed video on how I make my flounce. These steps, but even more detailed. So please make sure to check that out. So from the edge of my circle, I'm going to put in my flounce length. So mine was 6.5 inches, and in this 6.5 inches I had made sure to put my sewing allowance. So 1 inch was for my joining allowance and also my hemming allowance. So make sure to incorporate that into your flounce length. So from the outskirts of the circle, I'm going to connect it to one of the lines, like so. Please check out the other video for an in-depth tutorial, but what I'm basically doing now is just looping the circle all the way around. So keep on putting the length of your flounce and keep connecting the lines and keep going all the way around till you reach the end of your fabric. Once you're done with that, cut your flounce out using the lines as a guide. Once you cut it out, this is what your flounce should look like. So now I'm just going ahead to hem the bottom of the flounce. I find that it's easier to hem the bottom first before I go ahead to put gathers in. So I'm still going to gather this, but it's just easier to hem it first. So to gather my flounce, I'm going to run 2 basting stitches across the length of my flounce. To run a basting stitch with your sewing machine, set the tension dial of your machine to the highest. So mine was 8, and then set the length and the width of your thread. This should be at the highest. This is to make sure the stitch is loose. Altogether, I ran 2 basting stitches side by side. To gather the flounce, just pull on the top stitch thread till you reach the desired length you want. So this is what it should look like once you're done gathering it. Now we're going to begin the process of joining the pieces together. I'm going to grab my back pieces, so the two back pieces, and I'm going to pin them together. Towards the middle part, towards the zip area, I'm going to mark 1/4 of an inch down, and I'm going to draw a straight line connecting it to the other point. I'm doing this because your back is shorter than your front, so I don't want there to be a bulge of some sort, and I'm just going to cut it out. It's time to join the top to the bottom, so the top to the skirt. Join them right side facing right side and join it with your sewing allowance. Now go ahead and join it together on your machine. So moving on to the front of the skirt, before I join it to the top, I have to put the flounce. So I'm just going to lay my skirt on the floor, and I'm going to position where I want the flounce to be. So because the way the model is standing, I don't think the flounce is at the seam. I think it's actually on top of the dress. It's just the way she's standing. So I'm just going to position where I want my flounce to be. So here I'm just positioning it. This is not how I'm going to sew it. I'm just putting it in place just to see and have an idea of what I'm working with. But this is not how I'm going to sew it on. Alright guys, so I have pinned it together. So I have pinned everything together. So this is how I got it. This is my flounce, and as you saw, I just went on the floor and I kind of figured out where I wanted it to be. Then I took it out. So I have pinned it right side facing right side, and I have pinned it at the back, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch down here, and then when I'm done, by the time I turn it inside out, it's going to look something like this. I really hope you understand. So I'm going to turn it inside out like this. So once I'm done, it's going to be something like this. So once you're sure with everything, how you want everything to go, and you have placed it the right way you're going to sew it, just go ahead and take it to your sewing machine and run a stitch through. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and attach the top to the skirt. So off camera, I have joined the front and the back piece together by the sides, keeping in mind that the back piece is still open. The zip area, I just pinned it together. When I turn it around, this is what it would look like in front. And what's left now is just to fix the zip and the flounce in front. But before I can fix the zip, I have to fix the flounce first. To fix the flounce, you're going to measure your shoulder round. For my client, a round shoulder was 43. So the thing is, she actually wants elastic at the hand. That's something I had to figure out. If you want yours without elastic, you're just going to take the circumference of your shoulder round and you're going to add 2 inches, so 1 inch for your zip at both sides. And that's how you would do yours. Alright, for this section, you're going to need your pins and elastic. Alright, at the top edge of the dress, mark 1 inch. So at the back and the front, I'm marking 1 inch. Now I'm going to grab the flounce and pin it on that 1 inch mark I just made. Remember, the flounce is going to be your shoulder circumference measurement plus 2 inches, which will accommodate for the zip allowance. So yeah, just pin it and pin it all the way around the top of the dress. So I'm done pinning it, and as you can see, once I flip it, it kind of looks good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch from one end to the other. So I'm going to only stitch where I pinned. So I'm done stitching it, and this is how it looks like. It looks good. So now I'm going to grab my stitch remover and I'm going to just remove the gathers on the shoulder. I'm going to do this because once you put elastic, it kind of bunches everything together. So I'm just going to remove the gathers and insert elastic there. So do that for both shoulders, and once we're done, we're going to insert the elastic. So grab your elastic and measure about 10 inches. You're going to cut 2 of this. So I'm going to grab the elastic, and at the front edge, I'm going to attach my elastic, stitch it down a couple of times, and do the same thing for the back. You're actually going to stitch this first. Make sure it's very secure. You secure this by just taking it to your machine and running a zigzag stitch over it and back stitching it over and over again for a few times. Once you're done with that, you're just going to flip your fabric over the elastic, and just kind of hem it, but you're not going to actually sew on your elastic. You're actually going to sew just beneath it, and you're going to make sure to pull the elastic as you go because it's only a short elastic and you have a lot of fabric. Yeah, I'm so sorry I didn't actually film this on camera. It was just too much, and in between pulling and doing all that, it was too much. But if you follow the steps, it's actually very much straightforward. So now I'm done, and this is how it should look like. So the elastic actually does what the gather does. So I like that. And now I'm just going to go ahead and fix my zip and close the back of my dress, and that's it. I'm all done. I've attached my zip, and I also put a slit at the bottom. I didn't show you this because I have countless videos showing you how I put my zip in. So yes, we finally come to the end of this video. We're all done with the dress. This dress took me quite a while to finish making it. It wasn't so hard, but I just didn't have the time. I think it came out good, so I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please leave comments down below how you found it, and in case you need help, just leave questions and I will try and help you through the sewing process. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, share and subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.